Hello everybody, welcome to Tokyo. And just over the last couple of days, we've seen the exchange rate go from 155. Right now, it currently stands at 159.2750 or something around there. It hit 160.24. We are here. It is uncharted territory, and it's kind of making me a little worried. Welcome to Japan. If you are American, it's never seen a better situation as right now, but there are big impacts to the currency exchange rate being this week for Japanese, and it's huge, and we're starting to really think about this. Now, I predicted based on, actually I didn't predict, based on research that I've done, in particular looking at a Bloomberg 6 months ago interview with Sakakibara, who is a very influential person in the Bank of Japan, the financial industry here. He predicted that at 155, the Bank of Japan would start to panic and intervene because there was no choice. Because when the yen gets this weak, imports get so much more expensive, businesses start hurting. Unless you are making dollars, a Japanese business like Uniqlo or Sony, it is going to devastate your business, and we're seeing small businesses really start to panic. These are voters. I expect that they are intervening, and here's the deal here. And if you haven't seen this interview, it's very telling. It's 6 months ago, but it tells you pretty much the story of the last year, actually. It's a pretty interesting interview, kind of boring, but that's the exchange rate in news. People speak in they're not specific about anything, so you kind of have to throw up the information and kind of read it the way it glistens in the sun or leaves and see which side it's going to fall on, the front or the back. You just don't know with currency. It is a market that people bid on, and right now it's at let's just say 160 to the dollar. For the longest time, I was telling everybody, they would say, well, why don't you tell the prices of things in dollars? And I would always respond like, because the exchange rate is always fluctuating. When I got to Japan, it was 147 or 148 to the dollar, and then it got down to 77 yen to the dollar. So if I tell the prices in a video, I can't alter that information. That's a pretty cool Ferrari. And this makes it really hard to say prices in dollars. I would think the guesstimate was always 100 yen to $1, and that's thrown out the window now. It's like 150 to the dollar for the last several months. It's very hard to guesstimate what things cost in Japan now, but they have something called a 1 yen lunch, or 1 coin lunch, which is 500 yen. 500 yen is now like $3.50 or something like that. That's mind-blowing, and you can get the smallest bowl of gyudon, which is a bowl of a beef bowl, for like 380 yen, which is what, like $2.25? The prices have gone up the extreme. When it used to be 100 yen equals a dollar, and that's the way we feel it as locals in Tokyo. Now it's 160 yen to the dollar. Japanese aren't traveling, and this Golden Week, I have seen more Japanese tourists around Tokyo coming from other parts of the countryside, picking Tokyo as their destination rather than going abroad, because it's just too expensive to go to Hawaii, it's too expensive to go to New York, it's too expensive to go to Europe, to Australia. Flights are going up. The gasoline is charged in dollars, so the prices go up. I'm a big fan of LL Bean. I guess maybe you've seen me wear those shirts. Okay, this shirts that I buy are like 50 bucks. It's kind of expensive, it feels like. They're like $55 in the US, or $49.99 on sale. They're 8,500 or 8,700 yen in Japan because they charge dollars for the price in Japan, and Japanese consumers aren't having any of it. They're not going to be buying these foreign brands that have set up shop here in Japan at that exchange rate. You can't price the market in dollars in a foreign country, and if you do, don't expect people to buy this stuff. I'm starting to see places raise the prices. It could be because of inflation, but Japanese consumers are not going to be able to keep up with this. One of the things, and as you as tourists, I completely understand that you want to pay local rates. And I'm reading comments that come in every time I do one of these currency episodes that say how great this is for them, but they really feel bad for the Japanese locals, or a complete misunderstanding about it. Let me see if I actually took some screenshots of them over the last couple of days. I've been looking at them. Oh, I do have some. I do have some here. Is this related? Oh no, this is for a different episode. Okay, this is for a different episode. That's probably tomorrow. So yeah, there's a lot of pain going on with Japan, but I travel. I backpacked a lot. Before YouTube, I was going around which is a shame. I went to about 80 countries, let's just say. I think it's like 79 to 82 countries. Backpacking. It was an amazing experience. We didn't have YouTube, so I made slides out of them. It was really challenging at the time because we didn't have the internet. We had guidebooks. It was old school. So my point is, when I was out there were some countries where the economies were for locals and there was an economy for tourists, and they had two prices for stuff. I don't ever think we're going to get there, but I can understand, and I think you can too, why Japan might want to do that. One of the reasons why this hurts is because of national pride. Japan has a lot of it. There are countries that have more national pride. Japan has a little bit of national pride. Probably a lot less than the United States, but there is some. Enough where it kind of hurts to see your currency getting so weak. It feels bad to people, locals here. I don't like to see it either. I could tolerate 150 because we've been there before. Now we're getting in a territory that just makes me feel sick. It makes me feel bad to see it because I know it's hurting a lot of people here. Historically, it's gotten to levels. Here, let me pull this up here. This is as deep as I could take it. This goes all the way back to the 1980s, and you can see. And I think Dale is here. Dale, if you're watching, I read your messages, buddy. It got well over 250 yen to the dollar, but we're talking like the early 1980s, and then the bubble era hit, and it just plummeted down into the 100s, and the yen was really strong, and then it crashed around 1990. You could see it went up to, and even when it crashed, it only hit like 156, 160, and then it went right back down, and you can see going into, you know, the 1990s, it got really, really strong and then up. Again, when I came, you see that spike near 2000? That's when I came to Japan. Then it dipped all the way down around 2013 to about 77 yen to the dollar, and now it's going back up to 150. So historically, there's nothing particularly odd about this. And yeah, the yen is gonna go up and down and up and down, and I see it going up, and you can see that the trend lines are gonna make it go down again, because that's just the way it is. And since those historical days, unless something major happens, I never see it going up to 200 again. Do you? If it did, it's even. But bottom line is, I can talk to you all day about currency, and I could try to predict what's going to happen in 2025, but the reality is that nobody knows. I think the Bank of Japan has intervened. I think that they're putting some dollars, they're buying some yen and manipulating a little bit, but if they are, they're failing miserably at it. The BOJ intervention, Andrew writes in here, BOJ intervention has an impact, but it doesn't work. As long as the coupon on U.S. Treasuries far exceeds interest rates in Japan, then there will be downward pressure on the yen. That's the biggest challenge. When they did this, they intervened in 2022 in October when the yen got over 150. The Bank of Japan intervening kind of drops the rates down a little bit and kind of makes people think, and people see the yen going down, so they start to sell as well, and it can have an impact on it. But it's like one man going into the ocean and trying to push the ocean the other way. You can't do it. Even the country, the government of Japan is so weak in the amount of money in this entire currency exchange that they can't really make much of a dent in this. So I don't see the value of intervening. We're talking like $20 billion is the estimated amount of intervention, and nothing is public because intervening in currency markets is sort of like a gray area. It's not really good to do. But every time the yen goes up and we have to buy gasoline in dollars, it is so expensive now. And I see this is going to be, if this continues like this, I can't imagine. Politically, Kishida's already like way down in the polls. He's not a bad prime minister either. He's just really, there's a lot of scandals that have happened here in Japan. There were three runoff elections, I believe, that took place a couple of days ago. He lost all of them. So I don't think he's going to be in the elections that are coming up later on, the next prime minister of Japan. He just doesn't have the capital anymore. He spent all his political capital. He's not a bad prime minister. But the poll numbers, I think just the situation in Japan, it's a lot to overcome. The that era that we just got through has been really challenging, and he's doing as good as any major leader could do to steer through it. There's a lot of things not to like, and there's a lot of things to like, but I think maybe there's more to like than not to like, and it's hard to see that. I feel bad for the man. He's from Hiroshima, so I used to live there as well. I kind of have a synergy with him in respects to that. But I don't see the Bank of Japan right now. And this is how, all right, this is how it went. Check out the last 5 days. All right, check this out. That's the historical chart. It's so much fun to look at this. This is historical chart. I have the last 5 days, I believe, or the last 5 years. This is the last 5 years. Yeah, right here. All right, this is the last 5 years. You can see, and this is what is so perplexing. Before that era started, when nobody could come here to Japan, I even say the word. It was hovering around 107 to 105 to the dollar for most of that, and then once the P word started, you could see the yen just kept getting weaker and weaker, and in 2022 around October, it just got so bad. And it's the yen is getting weak, but the dollar is getting less weak, and that's, I think, the way the market is. Then it sort of recovered. I think that's sort of, you can see the little blip at the October 2022. That's the intervention. Let me see if I can pull this image up. Right here, I can't get it anymore. Right in the center of your screen, that little drop, that's the intervention from the Bank of Japan. That's how little it actually did by injecting $20 billion in the currency market. It hit up to about 151, and then it dropped down to 146, 147, and then it kind of stayed there, and then it dropped. So it did have an impact, right? It got speculators to think a little differently. But in the whole scheme of things, the currency is not going to be influenced by the Bank of Japan's intervention much. Those $20 billion could be used for something better. Give it to a grandma to start a business that takes advantage of tourist dollars or something like that. I don't know. It's really hard. It's a hard. I want to make sure that you guys have a voice in this as well. And if you do see this in the playback, please leave me a comment. It is so interesting to read what you have to say. Vasily writes in here, Konstan, the currency exchange, it just went by there. Sorry about that. I appreciate the super chats here. The currency exchange rate is crazy. Let's show John some love here in the chat. Well, thank you. Well, thank you. I took Leo out yesterday. I was going to do a live stream, but Mom is busy, and I took him out to Tokyo Dome, where they have a Disneyland type of rides for kids, and he could do a couple of the rides. He's under a meter tall, but a lot of the super chats, we use that to. That's what you guys gave it to me for. So I took him out for a really fun day. We got him some ice cream. I got him some mango coconut pudding. He loves mangoes and he loves coconuts. He's a tropical dude in that way. I appreciate that, guys. Chan writes in here, short-term intervention is fine, but if they don't address the fundamental cause of the weak currency, it will continue to fall, which is, there's so many issues. And the thing is, naturally the dollar is going to weaken. It's an election year. I would expect the dollar to weaken. There's the interest rates play a big part in this. Japan has had negative, can you believe it? Negative interest rates. Why would you invest in Japan at all? Negative interest rates, but they've raised it up to positive for the first time. It's like 0.01% or something. That was big news, by the way. So that's a huge challenge. They want inflation. Japan is a country where things have been staying the same for a very long time. They want the prices of things to go out. But now it seems like it's going to get out of control because the exchange rate is off the charts. You can't control it. And that is the biggest scare. Like, how bad is this going to get? And I think I was going to show you that chart, but the last 5 days where we went, and I did a live stream on this, from 155, and I thought the intervention would happen, and I think it would be stronger, from last week to now 160, it happened so fast, so unexpected. I said, what happened to 156? We're at 157? What happened to 158? We're at 159? We hit 160? Just like boom, 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 boom. So for me, it was just like, what is going on here? Because I know how adversely this impacts Japanese small businesses, in particular those that import stuff, that have to use gasoline to drive. It's too much. And inflation is starting to hit as well as the weak yen. A lot of people wanted to go out and travel because the P word, that era is over. They can't do it. They've got families. They got to use that money to do stuff. The prime minister back last year, and this is why Japanese politics completely stinks. Michael Sasano, aloha, mahalo for the yen update. You're welcome, buddy. Crazy thing. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be giving, I'm seeing Brandy tonight, and we're going to send a message for you through Brandy to bring back to you. We'll see how that goes. I really appreciate that, buddy. Samir is here. Is it a good time for Americans to buy real estate in Japan? Why not? Why not? The thing is with real estate, and I just want to, there's a couple of things I wanted to say before I completely forget it. The laws and the situation is always going to change with that. So it's not just about the price of the real estate, it also has to do with some of the policies around it, some of the taxes involved with it. Right now, Japan apparently in many municipalities has added a tax, meaning if you have an akiya or an abandoned house, if you don't sell it, it's going to be charged not as an akiya, but as like a normal house or something. I can't remember, but they raised the taxes on it where families now, it's better just to get rid of it and sell it. So a lot of foreigners are buying some pretty good property. Been talking to two people that bought, one American who bought a house down in Shikoku, who has been messaging me to come down there, and I'm really stoked to see him and his wife down there. They bought an akiya right near a temple in a really beautiful city that I've done episodes in. So I might go back and help promote it. I'll do an episode on that, Samir. That's really interesting. Comment writers here. A lot of tech companies are going into Japan or expanding because of this. I would too. And Champagne Sumo writes in donation so that John Sama can help stimulate the economy. I was gonna go. Okay, let's do a live stream or an episode where we start to eat some street food from local businesses. I think that might be a good idea. Let's start to spread it around. Thanks for that, Champagne Sumo. I appreciate that. I love small businesses. I love the grannies out there in the countryside. I've been in Tokyo for too long. It's time to get out there. Let's do that. Thank you for the nudge. I think it's time to go down and hit some of the localities now. Spend the summer outside of Tokyo. There's too many tourists here anyways. But the impact is, I don't know what it's going to be. It's really hard to predict how this is all going to play out now unless the yen starts to stabilize. I think the Bank of Japan can stomach 140 to 150. I think this is too much. 160 is too high. And I don't know what tools that they have at their disposal to bring this down. How is this going to impact you traveling? 17 minutes in, I finally talk about this. How is this weak yen going to impact you traveling in 2025? Number one, if this becomes a norm, over 150, I don't know, but taxes are going to come up and there's going to be a way that, look, Japanese want to travel inside of Japan, but everything is going to get too expensive and they can't raise everything based on the natural rate of inflation. I think the government's sort of propping up businesses in that way to keep them from falling down. And one of the things I wanted to say before was that last year, it was a head scratcher, Prime Minister Kishida decided to give money. They love to hand out these stimulus packages here. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like scratching an itch. The rash is just going to get worse if you itch it. He's like just giving money to certain people that you got to pay back in taxes anyways. Well, he gave, what was it, like a 50,000 yen extra to families because of the inflation that's happening. That's not enough, but that's how long it takes, like 7 to 9 months for any law or stimulus to be passed and be impacted based on the paperwork and the way that the Japanese work here. It is not quick. You can't just inject money into the economy. It's like a 6 to 9 month process to do it. So that stimulus package is set to hit Japanese bank accounts in about 6 months, but Japan doesn't have the money. They don't have the money. Where are they getting the money? They're just printing money. This stimulus stuff is going to drive the prices down. The birth rate's too low. But families can't afford to have the kids because the way the system is, the schools are so expensive. The amount of money that you spend on kids in Japan, I think, is more than you would perhaps in the United States. I'm not sure. Some of the places like Tokyo is doing an amazing job with daycare, so that cost is not so high. But if you go to a Japanese school, the amount of cost, the uniforms, the clubs, the juku, you got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars for your kids to learn what they should be learning in school because they don't learn it. The cost for kids in Japan is really high, and kids didn't really have great childhoods. I mean, yeah, it's kind of fun, but you don't play a lot. You're basically studying, and because Japan is so, I don't know, inefficient with schooling, and nobody wants to touch that issue. So and this is one of the issues why the birth rate is so small. This is one of many. People just don't want to have kids because they didn't have a great childhood, because it's really hard with the amount of studying that they do. Going to Juku, you're studying until like 6 p.m. at a cram school, which you could have probably learned if your teachers were more efficient with how they told you, because you're not allowed to raise your hand and ask questions. I didn't go to Japanese school, probably missing a couple things out there with this rant, but it's, I think, a huge issue, one of many. People just, when they finish school, they just want to have fun. They don't want that responsibility. They don't want that stress. They want to work in a convenience store. We had the grass-eating men, Soushoku Kei Danshi, which is what we called it. These guys who didn't have any motivation, which is unattractive to all women, who probably should be taking over the economy. Hey, why not? We should have a female prime minister. Why not? I think, can it be any worse than what the males have been doing? Maybe they have some bright ideas. I know that they do, because we're all equal in the eyes of God. I'm gonna get in trouble with this. Let's just move on. Let's move along to the Sukiyabashi intersection here in Ginza. The exchange rate is bound to get a little bit worse. I don't think that is that a Rolls Royce? I think that was. It was a Bentley, I think a Bentley. I'm showing you the cars because this is more interesting, looking at my my face from all the sweets I've been eating over the last few days with Leo. Look, the exchange rate, it's going to get worse and worse unless something happens, and eventually the dollar is going to get weaker than the yen, and the yen's going to get stronger. It just always happens like that. Something's going to happen, and it is an election year in the United States, so we expect some fireworks in the economy. I don't know what it's going to be, but the U.S. economy it looks so strong in some sectors, and it looks very, very scary in others. Immigration is a big problem. A lot of people scratch their heads in Japan, like, how can you just come into the United States without a passport? There's a lot of Japanese news that's talking about this. How can people from China just come in without a passport, or from South America, and start to work and get a credit card in New York City? How is this not an issue to Americans? I got Japanese news media asking this question all the time, and the implications of having all these people coming into Japan, in the United States, without a passport. It's like, to Japan, a country of rules, it's just a head scratcher. I'm not on the left or the right on this. It's like, I just don't know how this can work in anybody's favor that's good for the U.S., other than having people who are really bogging down on the services in the United States. This is going to be something, I think, that drags the dollar down. There's so many things. The uncertainty as well. The yen, the Japan government is such a conservative place. That's why the yen is such a good place to go, because when times are uncertain, the Japanese yen, you can predict that it's going to be strong. Nothing really changes here. It's pretty solid. Inflation was zero or less. You know, it was sort of a place that was safe for currency, and maybe this has all changed. A comment writer writes in here, sorry John, I need to go, catching a flight back to Singapore. Bye John, everybody. Bye, comment writer, have a safe flight, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in. It's great to hear from you. Tortora Poco, John Dub, inflation offset. Trust me, I'm not happy about this. I'm happy for the tourists, and I hope that you do come, and I hope that you change some money, and I hope that you spend the money in small businesses, and I hope you get away from Tsukiji Market, which is a tourist trap now, and I hope you go to outside of Tokyo. I hope you go to the small towns and you help the grannies and the people that are hurting, and young people who have really bright ideas to make a business, and help them out. I really hope that you do that if you do come to Japan, and I'll help you. I promise I'll try my very, very best to help you find those people that are trying to do something innovative, trying to be creative, trying to have dreams of their own, people that are inspiring other Japanese to do really great things, and I want to be an aggregator of that kind of stuff. So if you're coming in with all of this extra money, don't get that luxury bag. Stop it. Go out and spend some time in a family-run hotel with some food that's going to blow you away. Support some local farmers. Do something, I don't know, that impacts a local town. It's hard to know though. So I'll do my very best to help you figure that out. You know, we've got a great group of people here, so I know you guys are thinking the same way. But it's going to get harder and harder for them. Gas prices are the first thing. Then food prices start to go up. Then for the farmer, it gets really, just ask Canada. I can't even understand how Justin Trudeau's still in office. And he's adding more taxes. I can't understand it. Just based on, it's like an insane policy based on, I don't know. People's lives are more important, being able to afford stuff, than a blip, government intervention. And I don't want to dive too much in the political side of this, but I can't understand Canada, but I think Japan is like, I don't know. It feels like the inflation and the inability to afford a lot of this stuff, it blows my mind. Canada is the one country with all these natural resources, all this potential, a very smart population, and they can't achieve what they want to because the government regulations are so controlling. And I'm so much in favor of, I love Canada. Jason has made me an honorary Canadian. Thank you, Jason. Only a Canadian could do that. I feel bad for so many, for how expensive and how hard it is. There's some good things, but there's so many hard things in Canada right now. I don't get it. How a carbon tax helps if you have such a small percentage of the population and nobody's following with you. It doesn't make a difference. Get rid of it. All right, Champagne Sumo donations so that John can have a meal with his family. We're okay, but we appreciate it, and I'm gonna share that. All right, I'll tell you what, Brandy's coming tonight, and we'll share a little bit of that dinner with you, Champagne Sumo, because you're a big part of that, and I really do appreciate that. And Mick Everett, Leo and I are taking Brandy out to dinner tonight. She's been here visiting Japan for the last week. She just got back from Okinawa and from Yonago. So we're taking her out to dinner with you guys. Thank you. Mick writes in here, going to see the in-laws in Matsuyama, Shikoku for 2 weeks. Please don't go there. I like it being quiet. Well, Mick, that doesn't help. I was going to Shikoku this summer to go promote Kagawa. I had a couple episodes for Kagawa Prefecture, so don't worry, Matsuyama, hands off. Ehime, we'll keep it quiet for you for a little bit. And Wayne West, thank you for that. All this money is not going to me. It's eventually going to go into the pockets of the small businesses. Eventually, of course, it'll come to me, and then after YouTube takes its little cut, we're going to take it. We're going to take it out to the countryside, and I'm going to do something, because for me, I can't stomach. Every time I see it, I feel happy that you guys are getting a good rate. I can't stomach what's going to be a really tough summer for Japanese small businesses. And more than that, by the way, the weathermen here have predicted that the summer is going to be the hottest summer ever in Japan. So just be ready for that. Get some Uniqlo Airism clothes or something, or wear nothing at all. I don't care. It's going to be a hot one. Let's see here. Kanazawa, a good place for a visit. Absolutely. I think tourism has really gotten strong in Kanazawa. The earthquake during the New Year, it's still kind of an impact for Ishikawa Prefecture. But I encourage everybody to go to Kanazawa over Kyoto. But now I think it's kind of balancing out a little bit. But Kyoto would not be on my top 10 places to visit in Japan right now. But maybe it should be. If it's your first trip, do what you got to do. Kyoto's just really crowded. The temples are historic. You see that on Instagram. But there are places with historic temples all over the country that are less crowded, and you feel more of the culture. But Kanazawa is one of those places. But it is getting crowded there. Toyama's a nice city. Kanazawa is a city with a lot of history. A lot of those buildings are protected, and they're beautiful. It's got a geisha history to it as well. It's a wonderful place to go. It should be. I would put Kanazawa higher than Kyoto. Let me put it like that. GDS, I just got back from Kyoto last week. It was way too crowded. Yeah. Shimane has less people. Yeah, I'm gonna ask Brandy about that as well. Tortoro thank you. We're gonna make it a really good meal. I don't know if I can live stream in the restaurant, but I will take some video and share with you the meal that we take out with her in the next live stream, insert it in there. Golden Week has been pretty cool. Because it's so crowded out there, because the yen is so weak right now, we're just kind of like staying at home and saving our money to do something after Golden Week. I want to take Kanai out for our anniversary because we're both working. We couldn't do anything on that day. We went out to a restaurant where we had our wedding reception. Peter was the MC. I found an old video of Peter MCing the wedding, and he really laid into me. Oh my gosh, I can't even, I'm never gonna make that public. It was quite embarrassing. He knows too much about me, so I have to be good to him. He knows too much about me. Yesterday we went to his place. I don't know if I can show you the video. Let me see if there's a picture. But Leo went to go meet Bistro. I can show you this one. Leo went to go meet Peter's dog Bistro. And here's Leo protecting himself from the beast. He really likes it. All right, he likes the doggy and the attention. But you can see Bistro. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Do it, Bistro. Get him. Get him. It's all kisses. It was so much fun. So we're spending our time with friends and staying local, and as soon as Golden Week's over, we have plans to rent a car and get out for a family vacation. I got some episodes editing with the main channel, but I have to be honest, it's been seeing the yen drop and a lot of the other stuff in the news, and my wife has been extremely busy right now. It's been harder and harder. What was that over the building? Did you see that? I saw some kind of a bubble over there. I might go. I don't think it's going to be tonight, but I might go tomorrow night to Shinjuku, because right now I saw something pop up over that building, some kind of a bubble. Did you see that? There's some kind of an event going on. Danny B, thank you. If I buy an Akiya house in Osaka, can I buy without knowing Japanese? I think it's really hard. I think it's really hard. I think you probably need to know a little bit of Japanese, but those that are buying Akiya, usually you have an agent or you have somebody, a broker, that will help you with the process, because they sell a lot of paperwork. If you can find that right person, and Danny, this is the advice, and this could save you a lot of money. This $5 could save you a lot of money. There are a lot of people that are saying that they can help you with an Akiya. Please come to Japan and meet them in person, and don't trust anyone online. Don't trust anyone. Japan is an honest place, but there are scams here just like anywhere else in the world. Japanese want to make $1, and sometimes they're not Japanese. They're giving you fake names. I don't think there's any accreditation that they need to show you in order to be a broker of Akiya. So come to Japan. If you're serious about this, make the investment, talk to the person, and get to know them, and then learn to trust them through there. Please, whatever you do, don't trust somebody online. In particular, giving them thousands and thousands of dollars, because the last thing I'd want to see you is to get swindled out of your money, because they do exist. Come in person. Akiya banks are sometimes done by the city. You can go into the city hall and see that it's an actual place first. Don't do it, Danny. But if you find a good place, Danny, I would love to have you as a neighbor here in Japan. But please do your due diligence and know that you can get scammed in Japan. Yeah, that bus was close. The bus felt a little close. Felt a little close. Slightly. Thank God for this railing. All right, that's all I got for you. Choshi's beautiful in Chiba. We were thinking of actually doing that because it's so close. Right? It's far enough where it just makes it like a day trip. It's hard to do as more than a day trip. But Choshi is where you get some of the best sushi. The fishermen come back. It's such an amazing place for food, for seafood. Choshi in Chiba. Oh man, thanks for the invitation, or at least telling us about it, reminding me. It's high on my list of places to go. Yeah. So just to sum up, those that are watching, you can see here, since the 1990s, the yen has been much, much weaker. But those are like weird times. We're still in the impact of World War II in Japan and the Reconstruction, the bubble era. Like, this was all a thing. Now the world is sort of stabilized, globalization has taken over, and I don't think we're gonna see stuff like this. I don't have any doubt that the yen is going to come back down to like the 130s. I don't know when. And what scares the crud out of me is the fact that local businesses are really going to get slammed this summer. And those that aren't in the tourist industry are going to be really, really slammed the most. Because they're not making US dollars. If you're in the tourist industry, then you can charge a little bit more because all those people on this bus, I'd say about 85% of them are tourists. Because it's kind of fun to be on a day like this, a warm day like this, where I have shorts on, outside on a bus watching all the people go by. Looks like they're having fun. I don't want to be in the front though. Is anyone watching the show? You can wave to me if you see yourself, you know? Looks like fun up there. This is Sukiyabashi, this intersection. It's one of the more prized intersections in Tokyo, with a lot of shopping in this area, including up there in the Tokyo Plaza, which is the department store. And I've been here for a while. If anybody finds me, I would give you a You Found Me card. I do have one here. So. Well, she was a VIP. Whenever you get let out from a driver in a beautiful black car, that's got to be somebody. Bye guys. Thanks for coming to Japan. We love you. Spend more dollars. Small businesses. They didn't hear me yet. Watch the playback. All right, that's all I got for you, everybody. I appreciate it. Champagne Sumo, you have single-handedly made our dinner tonight, really. And by the way, it's a small business. We're not going to a chain restaurant tonight, so good on you, buddy. Thank you. All right, if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I think it's really important that we discuss this. The impact of the yen is going to be, the weak yen is going to really reverberate for a long time. And it's really, really good here. I just got swarmed by a lot of people from somewhere else. It was Chinese that I heard. Did you guys hear that? I was like, you guys are real close. I feel slightly uncomfortable. Why are you on my shoulder? I can feel the heat from the breath of the. That's some kind of close talkers there. I love China. I love traveling in China. I just want to put that out there. I've been to China many times. I love traveling to China. Cut that. Let's right there. I'm done. All right, but two countries, Hungary and China, full of close talkers. It's not a place Seinfeld should ever go to. I'm talking about people that are like right here in your face and they're having a conversation. One of my math professors at Ohio State, nicest guy in the world, he was a close talker from Hungary and was just super uncomfortable. Like I would take a step back and he'd take a step forward and I was too nice to say anything. Nicest guy, really good teacher, smart as could be. No social skills whatsoever in the United States, close talker. And in China, I had a lot of close talkers when I traveled. I guess you know you could feel the culture more that way, but amazing country to travel, backpack in. You know what I mean? And I can, yeah. And they still use the same voice tone. How you doing? Back up. I used to buy an external lens so you wouldn't feel that. It's harder, but spit talking isn't pleasant. Some people are good at that, but yeah, my friend the professor was not. It's a Hungarian thing. At least that's what the other people told me. It wasn't me. I asked about this and he said, no, it's a Hungarian thing. When I went to Hungary, I think it might have been his thing because I didn't have too many close talkers when I was in Budapest and I went out to the Hungarian countryside, not so many close talkers like him, so maybe it was a gross generalization, but I did in China have some close talkers. yeah, I don't know. It's a beautiful, but I could feel the breath, Henry. I don't, you know, if I could feel your breath, you don't get a "You Found Me" card. Can I make that? I should put the "You Found Me" card, I should put it on litmus paper. And then you could pass the test or fail based on the litmus test. If there's spit on the litmus paper, then you automatically don't get it. Or you get that paper, but it's for my own protection. I don't know. We're having fun here. At the expense of nobody, really. All right, thank you. Oh, there it is! I knew it! There's something going on over there. What the heck is that? Is that the kanji for Oni? Devil? And Hira? The one used in peace? Peaceful Oni? Am I reading that wrong? It goes away based on the wind. Aliens, could be. I'm curious now to go to the other side and figure this out. But I gotta get back, get ready for dinner tonight with Brandy. If you're watching this, I hope you're having a good day, and we'll see you at 5 p.m. And everybody else, I hope that this was useful. I'm sorry that it was 40 minutes. All the information was in the first 5 minutes. Typical of a live stream, but I hope you guys do subscribe. I'm gonna have a lot more newsworthy stories, things that, the great thing about going live is that I can cover this super fast. And as it happens, and there's some newsworthy stuff coming up in May, I'm gonna be here with it as soon as possible. And I do have, by the way, I've been talking about podcasting at home. Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you, Yogi Mev. Yeah, thank you. I got it. Yeah, I got. Now I can do it from my house. I just bought this green screen that allows me to prop it up. I thought about decorating the background. It just seemed it was impractical. I'm just gonna do a green screen and then keep it simple. But I'll be able to do this in a glorious 4K live streaming next month. So we can keep you up to date, kind of like a podcast. Gil Asakawa, who is an author of a book, I've already done a video which wasn't live, but we pre-recorded it, and we're gonna have that on the channel talking about Japanese food in America, which is super interesting. But we're gonna have a podcast-like format for this channel as well. So that's all ready. It's all on my desk. Mic stand, everything is done. It's just about, I just like being outside. So it's sort of odd. I like to be able to show you this. I don't want to like being in a studio, you know. I want to be uncontrolled. I want to be out here where you can guys tap me on the shoulder, you know. All right, everybody, have a good day. See you tomorrow as we do another live stream. Talk about maybe that projectile mapping in Shinjuku. It's the biggest in the world, apparently. And right now they're doing it with Godzilla, but I'm not sure based on copyright if I'm allowed to do that. And by the way, accidents are up on these scooter things. They're way up. So before you get on one, please do get a helmet. Please, please get a helmet. You only need a driver's license to do those scooters. Get a helmet, please, because the accidents are way up on those things. Last thing I want to see is anybody getting hurt here. All right, matane. I could go on forever. Tap on your shoulder. How about breathing on your shoulder? No, tap and step up, step back. How's it? Or a distant. I love China. I do. Ayo. Matane.